We're
Hey,
live.
middle-aged gamers. Speaking of young and growing, that is what middle-aged gaming is doing. We're young and growing in many ways. So today, this is technically the last show you will see me live. Antoine and Adam will be doing one more show because next week I will be in France for the first time in 26 years, something like that. So it's been a long time, and I will be there next week. And then from the 17th onwards, it'll just be the pre recorded episodes we've been doing. The first one was a little bit weird, so that's gonna be great. But the second one was awesome. We got all the video, that's gonna be wonderful. And hopefully, this week's one with Antoine and I. It's gonna be better. We're talking about gaming controversies of 2024. I've got a few interesting ones to talk about this weekend. Adam's got an awesome story to tell us. Adam, what are you telling us about?
So this week it was announced, shown that we are going to be getting Horizon at Home. So we recently got a trailer for a game called Light of Motrium. Yeah, Motrium. And it is so close to Horizon Zero Dawn that it is suspicious. It's going to be made by Tencent, and it's coming out. We don't know when. It's only in, all the footage that we're getting is in pre-alpha. But it's gotten a lot of people on the internet kind of talking about, oh my God, copyright. This is just Power World Part 2, right? But honestly, the more I look at it, the more I'm like, I don't know if Sony would have too much of a case because most of the similarity is the aesthetic. I mean, everything's made out of white plastic and has neon lights, but beyond that, it looks like can you copyright an artistic style? Like, for instance, could Disney say, okay, big eyes and big hands and skinny arms, we're going to copyright that, and anybody who follows that style is going to be in trouble? I don't know. So it's not the designs are it's similar to Pal World, but at the same time, they're just far enough off. I'm like, I don't know if you could actually sue off of it, but it is interesting to see because it is pretty blatantly a ripoff. Going through, I have a list of the things that are the same and the things that are different. So the things that are the same are obviously the art direction, lots of neon lights. Like I said, the white, everything's made out of white plastic or these black kind of rubber muscle, synthetic muscle kind of things. The human outfits are almost exactly the same. They're tribal wear with leather, and they've got maybe some feathers adorning it, but then they've also got the machine parts. And also, strangely enough, they have the thing, for instance, when they're using ropes, everything is colored. So they'll have these weird, like blue and yellow ropes around themselves as adornments. So it is suspiciously almost exactly the same. The music is amazingly similar. It's got those tribal beats over, or the tribal chanting over synthetic or over synth kind of beats and whatnot. So the music sounds exactly the same. Also, the setup, basically the idea that the Earth, for whatever reason, has died, and an AI is trying to reboot the Earth, and they've basically repopulated it, and then they've torn it down and redone it. We've learned that this is the fifth cycle in this game of this kind of recreation. Even the plot is basically just Horizon. Even the font looks exactly like Horizon with the white lettering, and they're blocky, and they're this cross between kind of a mechanical look with the same as like the like a stencil kind of look to them. Definitely a lot of, you can definitely tell that there was a huge inspiration taken from Horizon in this game. But there are some things that are in fact different. This game is looking to be a lot more focused on melee combat. Horizon has melee combat, but Aloy only uses a spear. The second one, she got a few more combos, but it really was about the ranged combat. This game, they haven't really shown too much ranged combat. It's mostly melee. They show sword and shield, hammer and shield, a great hammer kind of weapon. So this one is looking a little more Monster Hunter-esque in the combat. Also, there's crafting and building that they show. There's going to be some sort of base building. They show them building consoles around the bases and linking them up with electric components and whatnot, and building defenses for their bases. They also seem to have customization of kind of a mount, a machine companion. They show in one fight, they're fighting with what looks like a saber-toothed tiger. And in another one, they're using what looks to be some sort of beetle. They also show them riding the beetle, so it looks like some sort of dung beetle, which is an interesting choice, but that's different, that you're going to be having a lot more of this. So it does look like, while it looks very similar to Power World in the sense that the aesthetic seems to be heavily borrowed from another game, but the gameplay is from like Ark Survival. It really does look like the Ark Survival version of Horizon. Also, it looks like the fights that most of they show, the really big fights, are all done in kind of an arena. They're in these large flat spaces, and it's mano a mano, one person, one machine. So it does look like it's going to be, whereas in Horizon, using your environment was a huge part of how you fight. You need to take the best advantage of that. It does look like there's going to be a little bit different. Another thing that's the same is when you do hit something, you get these purple flashes on the parts that you hit. And it'll just like highlight like, oh, you hit this component or whatever, which is exactly like Horizon. They do the exact same thing. And also the machines themselves are a bit of a mixed bag. You do have some machines that look very similar to what we see in Horizon. You have what looks like the combination of a tall neck and a grazer. It's just this really tall giraffe looking thing, but it's got these like moose horns on the top. So it looks like a combination of those two. You've got them on some sort of horse mount thing, which is similar to the Strider. You've got them flying on some sort of pelican type machine, which is basically what a water wing was in the Burning Shores DLC. You've got a boss fight with what looks like a trampler, which is like a big buffalo looking thing. The saber-toothed tiger looking companion looks remarkably like a sawtooth. And they do have elephants, which they had tremor tusks in Forbidden West, but those look more like mammoths, and these actually do look more like elephants. So they are at least a little bit distinct. They also seem to have some sort of apish things, but they do have a lot of new designs too. We see a flying fish, we see some sort of sea dragon, and there's a lot of bugs in this thing. We see scorpions, we see the dung beetle, we see spiders, we see a fight with a Japanese rhinoceros beetle. There's this big giant mantis thing walking around. So there does seem to be a lot more of an insect focus on this one than we've seen in Horizon. Like I said, I think it's one of those things where you'd have a hard time really saying this is an exact copy and not this is very much inspired by. And so I think that would be rough. Now, would I play it? Actually, I might. I would say I would probably check this out when it comes out. I do have one concern. I have two concerns. One concern is obviously, is this just going to be a knockoff and a cheap cash grab or an expensive cash grab? Now, that's one kind of concern. Is it going to be able to match that level of quality for gameplay? But the other one is that this is going to be releasing on PC, PS5, and mobile. I'm not sure about Xbox or not, but it is at least releasing on the fact that it's going to be releasing on mobile does tell me that it is going to need to be able to be played on both. And obviously, like when you have a mobile game, you only have so much space on your screen for buttons. So you do need to simplify or streamline things a bit. And that, for me, makes me wonder just how complicated, like how complex are they going to be going into things like combat and whatnot. You might just be held back simply from a control standpoint than what you could do on a PC or on a console. I am a little bit concerned about that. Also, the fighting does look a bit stiff, but this is all pre-alpha footage. That's not really a testament to anything as to what that's going to look like in the end. But yeah, it's very interesting to see somebody doing this. More power to them. Thoughts?
Would be far less nuanced. It is a total blatant ripoff. There's no two way around it because Palworld, there's two things. First of all, on a legal point of view, Pocket Pair doesn't have the lawyers of Tencent. So if Tencent does it, it's because they checked before, do you have a patent on robot machines, robot animals, right? Because this is clearly robot animals, which is very specific to one universe. In Palworld, you capture animals, technically, and yes, they look like Pokemons, but how many Pokemons do you have? Like more than 1,000 at this stage. So if you want to capture animals, and if you want to have a little bit of diversity, in the end, of course, it will have some kind of Pokemon-ish diversity. Even Digimon was a ripoff at the time. But here, wow, it's exactly the same machines, the same tribal humans, the same mechanics. Everything about the mechanics is the same. And mounts the fact that you have some of the machines fighting for you. Exactly, Aloy can override the machine to fight for her. I'm not saying that I'm not gonna be happy to play it because I love Horizon and it looks like fantastic, and it's just that I would prefer that Guerrilla does it. And honestly, I see that and I'm like, come on, Guerrilla guys, lawyer up. That is not possible. If this pass, this is gonna set a precedent Because with Palworld, the line in the sun was blurry. And I'm going to actually talk about Palworld because that's my story after that. But it was blurry. Here, there's no line. They saw the sun and said, that's ours. And that's it. Yeah, no, shocked. Honestly shocked, really, on this one.
Yeah, I think that is a good point. As Palworld established itself as, hey guys, this is Pokemon with guns, right? Whereas this is, hey guys, this is Horizon.
That's it.
What makes it's like they just cut it off there. They're like, we're not going to make it any different. It's just Horizon. That's all it is. So yeah, I don't think they did a good job of trying to establish a unique identity. Whereas Palworld, they definitely were like, hey guys, this is not Pokemon. This is something completely different. So that is true. That is true.
And that's a shame you're not here on Saturday because that would have been a great controversy to talk about.
All right, Antoine, you already led with it. Go into Palworld.
And then, yes, of course. So we talked about this Horizon ripoff. Let's talk about... So I saw on Reddit, not to mention Nintendo, they call it the Big N. The big bad Big N is lowering up against Palworld. Yeah, on the IP. I'm not going to blame them. But what's happened, so why I'm talking about this right now, it's because there was a small update, which is... Oh, okay. There's no proof that it's directly linked to the actual trial, how you can say, the fact that Nintendo is suing Palworld over the patent. But it's absolutely this, right? The update is that, so the patent, and Adam talked about it very, very well in the previous show, it's about throwing the Pokeballs or capturing the Pokeballs with a round shape stuff and the way that so I'm not going to call them Pokemon, but the pulse appear. So in this update, the pulse, you throw your pulse sphere and the pulse appear next to you, not where you throw. So it breaks the immersion. That was disgusting. And people are really upset about this. Oh, yeah, there's something about the reticle. So again, I'm not sure if it's part of the patent, but the update I made the reticle only appear when the people are aiming at throwing the ball. So that's the true change that this update made. So people are very annoyed with it. And I don't think people annoyed with it are really following the news. Otherwise, they would know that Nintendo is suing Palworld over this. And to me, that's definitely not what it's going to look like at release. Because again, yes, Palworld is supposed to be released on PlayStation 5, I think, early next year. But at this stage... It's already out? Because at this stage, for me, on Steam, it's still an early access. Is it an early access on PlayStation 2? Because at this time, it's still an early access and not a finished game. So for me, that's just a very easy fix to go around what Nintendo is suing them for. To me, that's it. And they're going to try to find another solution for the definitive edition. If you're annoyed with this and say, it's disgusting, yes, it's... Okay, thanks. Yes, it's disgusting. I agree with you. It's not practical. It's not immersive and all. But it's temporary. It's temporary because the solution is either we do something temporary like this, and yes, it's breaking immersion and everything, but or we just lose and Palworld cease to exist. Because Nintendo's going to win and they're going to ask for reparation in the millions and Pocket Pair is going to be bankrupt. Because before Palworld, the other games they didn't made millions on it, right? Palworld is their first big break. And if the lawyers of Nintendo win the case, so long. So yes, they need to make emergency fixes. I guess this is one of them. If you're a big Palworld fan and you're upset with this, take some tea, breathe. It's going to be fine. Just wait a bit. Just wait a bit, let them cook, as they say. And I'm sure that for the actual release, which I'm not even sure, I don't think they have a date yet. And definitely this thing with Nintendo is not going to help them release anytime soon. But it's going to be fixed. It's going to be changed. I don't know how, but it's going to change to go around Nintendo patent and everything the lawyers are yelling about. But that's it. I'm talking about this. It's not a massive news, right? It's just I saw a lot of people yelling at it on the internet. Relax. It's fine. That's all legal and just a quick fix. It's going to change eventually. So it's okay. That's all I wanted to say about it, but please feel free to share your thoughts.
Yeah, isn't the goal just to get it banned in Japan, not necessarily worldwide?
They want to shut down the game completely.
Okay.
Yes. So that's like, Adam, you made that wonderful thumbnail, and I researched it, and I did this video on my channel to use that thumbnail because it was absolutely beautiful. I had to make a video with it. But basically, yeah, the reparations were $70,000. That's it. They don't want money. They want the game shut down. And then I've been in enough legal talks with the legal team at the company I work for to understand like what Hollywood has done is to say they've made this step. So when they do go in front of the judges, yes, okay, we made a mistake, but we have made reparations. We've changed the system. We are trying to do good. And the judge can say, yes, you've done Nintendo X amount of harm. Okay, just the money. You don't have to shut down the game. Now, if they didn't change anything, and try to be like, look, you guys are just breaking the law. Here's an injunction. You have to stop offering this game on Steam. We have to stop offering this game worldwide. They sent an injunction to Steam in wherever Steam is based, somewhere in the States. I can't remember. And that's the problem. And then Nintendo has a double story this week because they went after 30,000 Reddit pirates from basically stuff they talked about on Reddit, right? So as Reddit is now controlled by the corporate overlords, they made that first profit ever in Reddit's history in Q3 of 2024. So Reddit is playing ball with all these companies. And Nintendo asked Reddit, give me the information of these users, and Nintendo's going to come after you for pirating Switch, croaking about Switch pirate stuff or ROMs and that sort of stuff. Nintendo's not holding back anymore. And I think it's at some point I'm like, yeah, are they worried about blowback in terms of bad PR? Apparently not. They don't care. They figured like people are still gonna love us no matter what we do, so we're gonna make sure people don't pirate our games.
Yeah, they're like Disney in that regard. They're like, we're so big. People will always love us, and people always will. Yeah, they have no
Well, it
fear.
depends.
But okay, the people will be angry, but people will still flock to see their movies in theaters, and people will still show up at the box offices, and they'll still get their money.
But the thing which is will be interesting, and you can ask your lawyer about this, right? That if Nintendo wins against Palworld, it will set a precedent, and you know that precedent in this world, legal world, is massive, and that could really impact Tencent and this Horizon. Whatever Guerrilla could go and say, hey, Tencent, there's Nintendo won against Pocket Pair. We're gonna do this exact same to you right now with this precedent. I don't know if they have any legal patents to support them, but maybe Tencent can see that and maybe will lend some legal help to Pocket Pair to say, we don't want a precedent on this, so let's help them a little bit against Nintendo. Maybe they
But
could.
Tencent is in China, and we know, everyone knows, right? Like, you can't, as a Westerner, you're going to lose in China, especially against the biggest Chinese entertainment company, if not one of the top 4 biggest entertainment companies in the world, right? Like, look at BYD, right? They want to send electric cars into the United States. BYD used to be a contractor for Tesla. I wonder where they got their battery technology from. So that's not the first case, right? Like people who manufactured Nike shoes out in China back when Nike was doing a lot of production in China, same sort of issue. And they came up with another knockoff sneaker brand. And that is a whole another can of worms. But I think like basically it's almost impossible to win against Tencent in China unless you have the backing of somebody else. And you need somebody else who's bigger than Tencent. The only person I can think of would be like Chinese National Bank or something. That's probably like the only biggest company in terms of money. But yeah, it would be difficult. All right, on that note, my first story for today is Avowed. Are you looking for Skyrim with actual action, not just walking around aimlessly trying to figure out stuff? This is what Avowed is. Avowed is made by Obsidian Entertainment. It is a game which I just literally discovered this earlier this week. While I was aware of the game, I didn't realize it was set in the same Pillars of Eternity universe. I played Pillars of Eternity 1. I tried to play it and I got stuck at some point. I'm like, man, this is too difficult. Delete, which is my usual go-to mechanism after 35 years old or so. That being said, like this, I think they've gone like in a total different direction. Of course, I was not one of the middle-aged gamers, was not one of the lucky YouTubers who got to play like 6 to 8 hours of the game before 2 months before it's released. I watched a bunch of these videos. This gets to save you some time. So basically what it is, it's an action version of Skyrim. A lot of people said Skyrim compared it to Skyrim. almost. I was talking about this with Adam yesterday. Unfortunately, it's another premium $70 game. So $70 if you want to order it or buy it. $80 if you want to make videos like I do. Yeah, $80 for people so you can play 5 days early. There's a bunch of stuff going on with it. I guess let's talk about the controversy first, is that it was supposed to come out this year. Then they delayed it, and Microsoft said, hey, we're delaying it because we feel there's too many games towards the end of 2024. We think we'll give them some extra 2 months. And then people are like, yeah, something's weird with this game. And so I think that is why they allowed all these YouTubers to, hey, go play this game, see what's going on, and see that there's actually no issue with it. Yes, so the YouTubers did play. They said like no frame rate issues, no graphical glitches, no sort of issues at all. A few people did mention that I think one of the issues they found was the UI is terrible. And there are some people like in RPGs or action RPGs where you need like a good UI to manage your inventory, that sort of thing. So they say that they hope they'll fix that in the next 2 months or so, because this is coming out on February 18th. Basically, you're dropped into a world, right? You're this godlike being. There's always some sort of story. You have 5 classes. That was what the YouTubers were showing, like Ranger, Wizard, Barbarian, the typical RPG fanfare. There supposedly are more classes that were not shown. Again, nothing's been confirmed yet. I figure we'll probably see something in January, probably like the middle of the week after everyone's back from their holidays. And then you leveling up, you're getting gear and stuff, and there's quite a lot of variety of gear. The one big difference from this with like your typical Skyrim fare or other games that have come out recently is that it is an open environment. It is not an open world. So when you're going through the game and you're actually hit barriers, or like you can't walk past this area, the game wants you to stay within a static area when you're doing missions, which I think is nice because I'm tired of wandering around looking for stuff. I was playing Uncharted with my friend Hans on the weekend. Path of Exile 2 is coming out this weekend in early access. So we'll stop playing Uncharted. But Uncharted is, you're trying to find this place, and you're trying to, like, here you see it on the map, and you're like, okay, I'm going around this mountain this way. Nope, not that way. Going around the mountain that way. And in the freaking game, it takes you like 10, 15 minutes to walk around a mountain. That is the world's largest waste of time, honestly. You shouldn't make it hard to discover where you're trying to go in the game. Come on. Okay, I feel very numb. But yeah, so this is why I'm looking forward to Avowed, because I hate games making you search and figure out and think. Though I might retract that statement after I talk about today's second story. But yeah, Avowed looks absolutely gorgeous, absolutely beautiful. I think it's going to run fine on the PS5. It's going to run probably okay on the Xbox. And of course, fine on our PCs, Antoine, Adams, and mine, if their guys are going to play it. Keep an eye out for the game. It looks great. Keep an eye out for the content. Decide if you want to buy it or not. I was thinking about this. I was like, what games am I going to play in 2025? It's going to be Avowed. It's going to be Fable. Because I've looked at one Fable game. I've never played any of them, so I want to give that a go. So this is going to be my game. Check it out. Hopefully next year, if we do, we'll go back to the old way, or check it out on my channel where I'll be playing Avowed in videos for a good few months anyway. Questions, thoughts, comments?
Fun facts. Day 1 on Game Pass, to mention, for me. And if you're playing on PC, if the UI is that terrible, that's one of the first mods which is going to be out there to to fix the UI. So I have no worry playing this on computer.
Yeah, I did see one clip where they were having a dialogue and the guy was talking, and then the dialogue you could choose from it was just literally just a gray box with words in it. And I was looking at it and I was like, what? This has got to be a stand-in. Has to be like early beta stuff, because yeah, that if it still looks like that was just terrible, super basic. But yeah, I don't know how far in development they were there. Yeah, I wasn't sure if the game was supposed to be open world or if it, because looking at all the footage, I was like, it looks fairly linear. It doesn't look open world like Skyrim does. So I wasn't sure if it was or not. But it's good to know it's not. Also, I should hope it runs well on an Xbox. It is made by Xbox. I should hope it runs well. But
yeah, supposedly there's 6 areas in the game. The YouTubers got to play like the first area, and the first area was like roughly 15 hours. So you're looking at about still like a decent RPG length, like 80, 90 hours in terms of gameplay. So should be fun. All right, moving on to today's second run. Adam, what are you telling us about?
So I'll be telling you guys about Blizzard, not Blizzard, but Warcraft. So as Warcraft 1 and 2 recently came out and said, hey, you know what? We're going to get a remastered version. It's going to be fantastic and you're all going to love it. Guess what? Blizzard said, that one's $40. The original's 15. Let's delist the original. So that way people can only buy the remastered version. So they are going to, I believe they are getting rid of it on their Blizzard store, on the Blizzard store or whatever they use. But also they went to GOG and they said, okay, guys, we want you to delist this game. We don't want people to be able to buy this game anymore. But don't worry, GOG's got your back, because GOG came out and they said, we just entered this game into our, what do they call it, the GOG preservation program. That's a bit of an awkward thing there. If you don't know what that is, what the GOG preservation program is basically they say, okay, these games that have entered this, we are going to continue to support these games indefinitely. Even if the original developers stop supporting the game, we will make sure that this game is always compatible with modern machines. So it's like a, I don't know what you'd call it, like a Hall of Fame, and I think they only have 102 games currently on there. But basically it says, we will make sure that these games are always playable in perpetuity on modern machines for whatever. Even if the company goes under or anything. Yeah, museum, that's the word. Yeah, Antoine sent me there. It's like a museum. So if you have the original not World of Warcraft, if you have the original Warcraft or Warcraft 2, then obviously you can still download them. It's just you won't be able to buy them. You do have until December 13th, though. So GOG is going to keep it up until December 13th. Also, if you buy it now, you'll be getting a $2 discount if you buy the classic versions. I don't know if it was originally 17 and it brought it down to 15, or if it's 15 and that brings it down to 13. Not quite sure. But you can buy the original 2 Warcraft games. They do use their own, not platforms, but for instance, the original ones use Battle.net to make connections. These ones do use something a little bit different, which actually makes it a little bit easier to find games than Battle.net does. So it should be a little bit easier there. But yeah, they're going to continue to honor this, even though people won't be able to buy it. Thanks, GOG. If you can pick it up right now for $15 or $13, I'm not quite sure what those extra 2 off were. But yeah, you can pick it up and you can have it forever. And you never have to worry about it not being compatible, and you don't have to worry about Blizzard saying, hey guys, we don't want you buying the cheap version, buy our new improved remastered. You got how many days until then? You got 10 days to do that. Get on it, get those original 2 Warcrafts. I played Warcraft 2, absolutely loved it. It was my very first RTS. I played like a little tiny bit of Warcraft 1, but not too much, but really loved Warcraft 2. For me, was definitely worth it. And at $15 for 2 games, you can't go wrong. So
what do you think, Antoine? I think Anna's bringing all the controversies today.
Is that a controversy to say Blizzard likes money? I think not. And although I would like to say, oh my God, I'm shocked, I am not. Yeah, no. Not much to say apart from the fact that I don't know about the first one, Warcraft. Just that the second one is it's very good, especially for the younger generation to see what a good old RTS was like. With not much challenge compared to the third one. Yeah, it's a really good one.
I mean, Adam, do you think the new cost makes sense in terms of developer time, and that's why they're charging this much?
That might maybe. That's a good question. I hadn't even considered that. Obviously, yeah, they're going to have to put work into the remaster and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. Because, yeah, if you go back, for instance, to Warcraft and Warcraft 2, the biggest difference between them and, say, StarCraft, why StarCraft took off, and then Warcraft 3 was a little bit more successful, was the original 2. There really wasn't any difference between the humans and the orcs. The only real difference was their mages had different spells, but a troll axe thrower and an elven archer did the same amount of damage, had the same amount of life. A human footman and an orc grunt were basically identical in every way. So A, I don't know how much work they really would have to put into it, and B, I don't really know for fans, like how much of a demand there was to have an updated version of these games. To me, it feels like the kind of thing that you would probably just say, hey, let's update it as a show of good faith, and just we're going to write this off not as something to make a profit, but we're going to write this off as something to build our reputation, because it is a smaller project and all that. But yeah, maybe that might be part of it, is them saying, hey, we did do the work. We do need to make money off of this. So I don't know. I don't think like a business person.
No, but it would be a very good point when you think of what they did with Warcraft 3 Reforged. But they ask $40 for another remaster of even older games. The gall of Blizzard, really. Just can't fathom that. Why would I put $40 in these games when you completely botched Warcraft 3, which is very much beloved game and the flag bearer of the RTS Warcraft games? No, of course not. I wouldn't buy them.
Yeah, I think it's also...
Not just the original, as you said, buy the cheap original right now to download later, but the remaster? No way.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, is you could have had both. You could have released a remastered at $40 and released the original at the price it was at, $15, and let the court of public opinion decide, do you want that remastered? Do you feel it's worth it for that extra money? Or are you willing to play just the older version for cheaper? And they took that option away. So I think that's more the issue, is the fact that they took that option away, not that they're charging $40 for the remaster. If they had left the original up and said, hey, you can play the old one if you want, but we have this new and shiny for 40, I think it would have been fine. But yeah, the fact that they're just like, you have to, the only way to get it now is the new and shiny, which is more expensive. Yeah, that to me is the biggest thing.
All right, on that note, Anton, what is your final story for today?
And we are moving from PC, because of course Warcraft was a good big PC game, to PlayStation. So unfortunately you were, I don't know, on holidays for Black Friday and you didn't have money for Cyber Monday. That's fine. PlayStation got you covered, because do you know that's their 30th anniversary this year? And therefore, for this occasion, they are putting on discount 5 PlayStation games, which we have a link for that. So I don't know, Adam, how you're going to want to put the link, but definitely in the comments of the video or something like this. Between December 2nd and December 20th, you have the time to do your Christmas shopping. We do not know, let me be clear on that, we do not know the amount of discount yet. It's not communicated. PlayStation is just saying, come on December 2nd on our PlayStation store, on our PlayStation website, to discover the discount that we're going to give you. Hopefully some good thing. And there's also another thing, because it's their 30th anniversary, they needed to release the product, which makes it worse. Oh, yeah, sorry, it's too blurry, I can't see.
It says up to 70% off.
Up to 17.
Yeah,
Black
not
Friday
everything
would
70,
still be
but up to 70.
up to 70. Oh, I heard
70,
70.
70, yeah.
Yeah, oh, 70%, that's pretty nice, right? And 500 games, it's a lot of choice. But more than the game, they also released something, and you will I always find it fun. They released about 12,000 units, more or less, of the PS5 Pro Nostalgia Edition. I'm going to call that like this, with the PS1 makeup. And they also released, I don't know for the numbers, the DualSense which look like PS1 remote. I don't know if it's limited edition or something like this, but at least for the PlayStation, yes, it was a numbered edition. So guess who came to the party? Woohoo! Big up for the scalpers. Yes, don't bother looking for it right now. It's already all sold out. It didn't even last very long. And now you can find it on eBay for $10,000. You would think that they would do something in scalpers, maybe one console per person. Or who cares? It's just Sony has absolutely no respect for their fan base somehow, and scalpers even less. They make money out of it, so why wouldn't they? And yeah, no, so that's basically it for my news. Keep an eye, 70% off on up to, right, on 500 games. That could be a very great shopping list. You know, I'm trying to think about you right now, and of course myself. Lots of big titles as well on it. So yeah, take a look on December 2nd on the PlayStation website. And if you want this big fancy PlayStation 5 Pro, at this stage, let's say forget about it and come back in a few years. Maybe there will be some cheaper one, but $10,000 it belongs in a museum, because it's the same these days, and at least in the show. Yes, that's really a museum piece. You don't play with it. Yes, unless you have a lot of money and you're crazy collectors. Wait a minute.
I'm looking at the sale now, and I'm like, they said up to 75% off, but I'm looking here. The Far Cry edition, it says 85% off, and there sees a couple other games that are 90% off. They say up to 70, but it can actually go higher, so I don't know why they put that number there. But I really would love to get a not a legendary edition, the 30th anniversary edition of a DualSense. I would love one of those. The other ones, the Portal, I'm like, I probably wouldn't use it that often. The PlayStation 5 or the PlayStation 5 Pro, I already have one. But the DualSense, I'm like, I don't really need a DualSense. I'd like to have at least something, but yeah, sales are always great. Who doesn't love a sale?
Maybe once we make our first $10,000 in mag, that's what we get. And Adam does an unboxing of a PlayStation 30th anniversary edition.
On that.
We'll be able to do it for we'll get a PlayStation 30th edition on its 40th anniversary. That sounds like a realistic goal.
Before I jump into my final story, I want to give you guys a bit of a thinking time before I ask you sometimes the usual questions. But it is the holidays, right? Adam's going to be on holiday. I would assume Antoine's going to be off in December for some time.
I'm gonna stay home. But yeah.
What games or gaming do you want to get done while you're on vacation? And tell me about it in about 5 to 10 minutes. Okay?
That's a long time.
Oh, no. I want to talk about my final story, and then you can tell me about it.
Yeah. Oh, okay, sure.
So think about it. All right, my final story.
I misunderstood you.
This is a 5 to 10 minutes, yes.
I thought you meant we had 5 to 10 minutes to tell you.
You have 5 to 10 minutes while I finish talking about this final game. My final game for today is a wonderful, very catchy name, Uncle Chop's Rocket Shop, which is just a really cool game. As usual, one of the key words on our channel that you guys search for and YouTube says, hey, you need to make videos about this is indie games. Today I'm here talking about another indie game for December. And I was trying to figure out, like, because you Google these sort of things, you're like, what is releasing in December? And you have all these mainstream games, but man, there's 20 something new indie games coming out in December for PC, for Switch. And so this is a game that I just like randomly clicked on this list. I'm like, oh my God, this is actually pretty awesome. That being said, I'm still trying to do that 1 year no gaming, no buying game challenges, which is why I pre-ordered Avowed and I pre-ordered Fable already. Study. Day one was yesterday. Let's see how that goes. But Uncle Chop's Rocket Shop is basically, if you remember that game that was out on VR, it was out in a bunch of places, it was like keep talking and nobody explodes, right? Where you play with a bunch of people and you have to disarm a bomb. And one person is like playing with the bomb. The other person has this 27-page manual, which is either on your computer or your cell phone, or you printed it out, which is like what I did. And this is what is in Uncle Chop's Rocket Shop. You're working in this rocket shop and it's a roguelike fixing RPG, which is another cool mashup genre. And you take over the shop and you have to pay your corporate overlords money. So you have to fix all these different things that are wrong with the thrusters or this warp engine module and stuff. And each of these things has like its own manual, which you have an option of trying to fix it. Like, okay, I had no idea how to fix this stuff. Let me open up the manual. And you have a time limit as well. So go back to Papers, Please, right? Where Papers, Please, if you don't remember the game, it was quite a few years ago, was like a very unique game where you're like playing as an immigration agent, right? And as you're playing the game, you have like different criteria. Hey, we aren't allowed these types of people in, but at the same time, you need to process a certain number of people in order to have money, in order to feed yourself in this communist state that you lived in. And as you play the game longer and longer, the categories and information that you have to remember gets much larger. And the same with Uncle Chop's Rocket Shop, right? So with Uncle Chop's Rocket Shop, eventually at some point during your first run, you're going to die, or the couple are like, oh my God, like you're too slow, dead, and then you start over again. But there is this roguelike element, right? Which is, I've talked to the guys, but I hate roguelikes where it's all about, yes, you need to get better, rather than, hey, we have these upgrades between each run, and as you play each run, the upgrades help make the anteceding runs much more easier. So eventually you do get strong enough. Hades is another example where, yeah, I'm good enough. I'm going to finish the game now, right? I also want to ask Antoine if he ever finished Beyond the Storm. Or Against the Storm. Why do I keep saying Beyond the Storm, Against the Storm? But yeah, so Uncle Chop's Rocket Shop, there is no price at the moment. It is coming out in 3 days on December 6th. It just honestly looks awesome. As much as I love simple games, I like things that are doing things differently. This also might be a game if you're married to somebody who likes figuring things out, and this could be a game where you're sitting next to your partner or you're with a friend, and while this game is only single player, I can easily see it with sitting with 1, 2, or 3 people saying, oh my God, we need to fix this, and you're reading the manual together. I know how to fix that. Yeah, we need to do this. So it could be a really fun game. Steam has that thing called Steam Sharing or Steam Family Link. I can't remember the official name, but where you can share your game experience with somebody else who has a Steam account, and they're not playing, but they can communicate and talk to you about it. So even if your brother is in France, like Antoine's brother is in France, I think still, yes, you can still share this experience together, or like Adam and his brothers in the US, or like me and my brothers. So I would imagine it's probably gonna be not too expensive, $10, $20 at the most, but really cool art style. There's also some really interesting humor. I'm not a funny person. Adam Anton would be the person to talk about that, but there's some South Park humor. This is a good way of describing it. So I don't like South Park, and I don't like Family Guy and all these other like weird humor shows. For me anyway, weird for me. But yeah, check out Uncle Chop's Rocket Shop. The link will be down in today's video. Let me know if you're gonna pick it up. I want to pick it up, but like I said, today is day 2 of not playing any games. Let's see how it goes.
Can you be gifted games?
Yes, of course. But gifted games is it's not like in the old days, like 10 years ago on Steam, where I could buy a game for Antoine for his birthday and send it to him in Canada. We can't gift each other across regions anymore. That's what my brothers used to do for birthdays. Was the easy thing was just buy me a game on Steam. But now, because my brother's in South African Steam store, my other brother's in the UK Steam store, there's no more sharing. Only part I can buy games for is Adam, who rarely plays PC games, which is unfortunate.
Rough.
All right, guys, moving on to my question. So we'll go Antoine first. Antoine, what holiday gaming are you looking to get done in 2024?
I already failed the December challenge right away because 𝙂𝙪 was a 50% discount, so I went with it. Realistically, I'm going to finish 𝙂8, and I think I'm going to jump right on 𝙂9. But also, I saw some Warcraft Warhammer, which was 50% off as well. I saw the Chaos Dwarf. I was like, I want to try that. Plus, there's all these indie games that Mr. Crane keep bringing up. So I have the Trash Goblin to do. I have the one from the week before, and now I have the Ankle Chop. Too much. I only have a week, and I have to take care of the kids and the Christmas tree and the bed. Too many games. Too much.
Gotta send the kids bed too early.
So nothing.
So go to bed early. It's game time. Go ahead, Adam. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I forgot what I was saying, but I was saying something to Antoine. Yeah, I'm going to be out of town, and I'm going to be far away from my PlayStation and far away from my PC. So the only way I'm going to be able to play is with my Vita. So maybe Persona 4 Golden? But I'm like, can I finish that in 3 weeks? Maybe. Can I finish it in 3 weeks when I'm supposed to be spending time with family? Maybe not. So I'm debating whether I want to start that and then maybe not finish it in time for coming back and then having to finish it when I come back, or do I want to play something else? I have a lot of games on the Vita that I haven't played yet, but right now Persona 4 Golden is kind of the forerunner. So
Remember, you have a long flight.
I do, but my wife likes to watch movies, and she likes us to watch movies together, so we always sync them up in the time. It's fun. Yeah, so we'll watch movies together on the flight. But if she falls asleep, maybe, yeah. Also, it is old. I'm not quite sure how long the battery's going to last on it. It did die on me that one time and then came back a week later. So there is always the possibility that it'll die again. And then I'll be like, okay, now.
Ooh,
now
you can pick up Balatro on your Android phone. That's what I usually do when I travel, is always make sure I at least have one or two or three games on the phone in case my mobile or my handheld gaming device dies.
Yeah, I have some games, but they're all like Sudoku, Nonogram, chess. I have those kind of games.
You just gotta,
but nothing like a big
you
game.
can find a
game,
big
though.
game for your Android phone, and then you just, like most modern plans have that USB charge. You just plug your phone in and you just game while the wife is asleep.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right, on that note, everyone, thank you very much for tuning in today. As always, we appreciate the love for Adam's videos, from some of our old videos as well. But again, we're not taking a break in December as much as we talked about gaming extra. You're going to see videos pretty much every single week for this year and moving into January. Stay tuned. Don't forget, Adam and Antoine are still live next week, so make sure you don't miss that. And then we'll be on our break technically, but also have videos and shorts. Stay tuned for Adam's shorts for Final Fantasy, which once he sends me the video, I will start doing them. I'll schedule them out for next week. so that I can do some shorts for this week, so that Adam only needs to do the long video for next week on the Tuesday when I'm not around and I will be on a plane. And then otherwise, I look forward to seeing you guys in January. Happy holidays, Happy New Year, and then I'll see you guys next year.
Catch you later.
Bye bye.